Hello friends, I'm SERVi Homestead. Please subscribe again. Thanks for joining us on entertaining. Please subscribe on a take it apart and clean it Briggs & Stratton engine. A simple carburetor, clean it, carburetor. Okay, so this is pretty much the simplest of carburetors. Remember, we want to try to preserve this gasket. You have a couple of tunnels here, so we want to make sure those are clear. I know that one of them has to do with letting air get into the bowl to equalize the pressure. No ports here, no adjustment screws or anything like that. So it's really simple. Let's go ahead and take the bowl off. Half inch. Usually a half inch. Wasn't bad. So there is a felt washer here. Right there. It's really dry and stiff. And there's a hole right here and a hole there. So those two holes meet, and that needs to be clean and clear. This doesn't look bad at all. I see daylight through this hole. And there's also a seal all around here. So be careful to keep those intact. See this rubber seal? Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got. This is called the float. Sort of like in the back of a toilet in the tank. This thing tells the liquid to shut off. So imagine this is sitting on your lawnmower. You're driving along, running the engine. What was this? That's where your fuel hose goes, right? So in a case like this, the tank is a little higher than the carburetor, and gravity simply drips fuel into here. It comes down and fills this bowl up some level, some amount. And when the fuel gets high enough, the float floats and it gets to its stopping point here and shuts off the flow of gasoline. And as the gasoline goes up, drawn up this straw by the quickly moving air going into the engine, or it's actually this way, quickly moving air drawn up this straw. As the level of gasoline gets lower, the float drops on the top of the gasoline, and when it gets low enough, gasoline starts dripping in again. When it gets high enough, it closes off. So it's constantly floating up to shut off fuel and then dropping a little bit to let more drip in. This can have problems. If this is really bad, this is plastic. You could have a hole in this or a crack. Fuel can get in it, then it's heavier and it doesn't float like it should. So it will sort of halfway sink into the gasoline that's in the bowl and never shut off, and you may have overflow into your air filter. Or it could just get stuck down because the last time you used it, you had very little gas in here maybe, or some evaporates, and this happens to get sort of stuck halfway open and it won't float up again when it's time to cut the grass after the winter time. So let's go ahead and take a look. Use your pliers to take this needle out. Sometimes these needles are stuck. This carburetor is very clean. I don't think this mower was very old. So take that needle out, keep it in a safe place. Take off the float. Ooh, what is that? This is the needle. This is the little shut-off valve. So what's coming through here? Gasoline, remember? Comes through this little hole. And this guy is constantly shutting off by going up with the float and opening, shutting off and opening, shutting off and opening. There's another seal in there, that little red ring. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that red ring in there needs to be in good shape. Sometimes it wears out or it gets dry, and the tip of this needle can't close it off properly anymore, and you have gas flow when you shouldn't have it. Oftentimes, though, the tip of this needle is actually rubber, and there's no rubber inside here. So it just depends on the type of carburetor and type of engine you've got. So, as I said, very simple. So now we can use carburetor cleaner spray or brake cleaner and spray out this port and this one and that one and these two. Sometimes this seal goes bad and it doesn't make a proper seal, and then the engine can be drawing air in places that it shouldn't be. The only place we want air to come in is right here, through the filter, drawn in right here. If there's a bad seal here, or a bad seal here, or a bad seal here at the gas hose, or a bad seal here, your engine won't start, or if it does, it's going to run poorly. It's going to be weak. Or if you have the kind where there's a choke lever and you can make the choke go on yourself, you might find that it runs better on half choke or 3/4 choke. That's an indication that you're probably drawing air in from places you shouldn't be. And then we would want to order the carburetor gasket kit. The gasket kit will most likely come with a needle, this little seal, this O-ring around here, a flat washer, the little rubber donut that goes in there, this O-ring, and this seal. All of that should come in the carburetor kit. Alright, let's go ahead and spray a little cleaner in this guy. Put on some safety glasses. This stuff will often spray back at you. Try to be in a well ventilated area. Put on a fan or something if you can. And shake it well, shake it well, shake it well. Put the straw and squirt. And squirt. Squirt. Oh yeah, so this came out of here. So this is probably the air pressure equalizing chamber. I don't know what this one does. Squirt. And maybe a quick squirt in the bowl, just not that bad, and just to sort of clean the whole thing and let the person know you did something to it. Oh yeah, squirt in here too. There, look at that. Look how much better that looks. It's good to keep some old pieces of t-shirt. Now be careful, certain things you don't want to get carburetor cleaner on, like rubber seals and things that you need to put back on, because it'll distort them. This stuff is really strong. Very fast evaporating chemicals in there, which means it's very flammable. Oh, I just tore the stinking gasket. That's what you want to be careful of. See that? Oh man. I think my carburetor cleaner spray got wet. Got this wet, and just me kind of rubbing near it tore it off. So it was probably in need of being changed anyway if it was that fragile, but I wish I hadn't done that. Yeah, it's kind of in bad shape, but you can even make this. You can buy a sheet of gasket material. I've even seen some push mowers where this gasket is huge and it comes way out here, and I'll cut a piece of that off, and sometimes it's big enough to make a new one with just the excess that was on there. So yeah, if I were really trying to get this one done for a customer, I would probably just buy the carburetor gasket kit anyway. But for yourself, you might as well take a few minutes and try what you can before you go buy things. So, all right, everything looks pretty clean. Oh yeah, one more quick thing. Because this stuff evaporates so quickly, boy, does it cause condensation on these metal parts. And you really don't want condensation here. You want just gasoline. So be careful of that on a warm, damp day. When you spray this stuff, it evaporates and cools this metal very quickly, and it'll actually condensate and get water on it. So you might want to watch out for that. All right, let's put it all back. Okay, so this little guy sits in here. Slide it in there. Like this. Slide it in there. Right down here. Then the rod goes through and through it all. The pin just kind of sits there. Then the bowl. Then the nut with the ports in it. This does not need to be super duper tight, but you are causing the bowl to press forward onto the carburetor and seal around here. So, you know, put it tight enough. Like that. We have a clean carburetor, people. Down. Keep wiping little areas where you see trash and dirt. Lawnmowers are workhorses, boy, and they get abused. You learn a lot about someone when you work on their lawnmower. So many people just don't know much, so this thing looks kind of crooked. It's flat. Some people just don't know, so you can't really hold it against them, but some things are just general care for what you own, and it's just kind of a shame sometimes to see that some people just don't really take care of stuff that they paid good money for. Thanks for joining us on SERVi Homestead. We'll see you on the next one.